The guys that get wiped out on sleds don't know how to breathe. Most people in general, and especially athletes, not only do they work in, but they live in high stress environments. I was kind of a broken, I guess you could say broken athlete. I definitely haven't had it as bad as Ben with, like, I haven't had any major surgeries or anything.
Tell me a little bit about some of like the Flexibull's goals as an individual, you know?
Just waiting on that moment, waiting on my moment, yeah. Waiting on my
old dude met mom, it was on, then he named me over a phone.
The Nordic strap is a sports performance game changer. With this convenient, practical, and affordable strap, you will protect your hamstrings, strengthen the ligaments and tendons that protect your knees, all while creating that explosive power needed for running and jumping. Hit the link to find out more.
All right back at you. I got my guy, the Flexibull. You know what I'm saying? I knew him before he was a Flexibull. I knew him when his name was Jeff Wolf.
That's right.
Now he even got superstardom, you know. So I asked him to kind of do a podcast with us today, so the world can kind of get to know him. Even we at ATG can kind of get to know him a little better too, you know. So we're doing our typical sled. I told him not to go too fast, you know, so I can kind of stay up with him. But so Jeff, man, first and foremost, man, appreciate you doing this with us today.
Thank you.
And, just tell the world a little bit about Jeff Wolf, man, and how you kind of came into becoming Flexibull. Where's that name and that like this come from?
So, I mean, I was officially named the Flexibull last year. You know, we were all sitting around when Derek, Ben, and I kind of started the whole online presence of ATG. And Ben had already been born with his name pretty much. He knew he was going to be knees over toes guy, and I guess you already knew you were going to be Mr. Infinity, right?
I kind of came up with actually a Captain Planet.
That's right.
Yeah.
And my moniker before was Ring Complex because I was doing like gymnastics, so it didn't really fit what we were doing at ATG. And the biggest thing I bring into ATG, I guess, is my experience with flexibility. So I guess because of my size, you know, I'm not as jacked as Derek, but you know, I do sit at around 90 kilos, 200 pounds, and I'm flexible. So it just happened to be that they came up with the name the Flexibull. So that's how I acquired it.
Yeah, so it's so fitting, man. Like, actually, me and Jeff kind of came into ATG together at a similar time, you know. And honestly, man, the truth be told, ATG was just here before me and Jeff kind of came to the fold.
Yep.
You know, ever since we got here, and he has integrated his flexibility into the ATG training, like it's almost exploded.
Yeah.
You know, so what he does is bring a level of expertise in that market, that flexibility market that just is not in the athletic community. So kind of talk about your role in ATG and the impact it's made on our athletes. Okay.
So my role is flexibility and developing that within our athletes here at ATG, and also educating them on why it's important. And essentially that's my role. I mean, we all can do strength programming and strength training and things like that. I mean, most guys can. For me, flexibility kind of became my niche. One, because it's something that I've been involved in and it's something I've acquired as an adult. I was not flexible as a child, so when working with adults who are considered not flexible, you know, the problem with flexibility is that a lot of teachers who teach it were flexible as kids. They did gymnastics, or they did dance, or they did martial arts. So what they learned about flexibility is a little skewed in the sense that kids can just be more flexible than adults. And there's many reasons for that. I'm not really going to go into it today. But it's just something I had to offer. And personally, I wasn't always flexible. So I didn't actually start stretching, I guess you could say, until about 6 years ago when I met Coach Summers, who was the men's U.S. national team coach for men's gymnastics, Team USA. And I was kind of a broken I guess you could say broken athlete. I definitely haven't had it as bad as it's been with like I haven't had any major surgeries or anything, but I've definitely dealt with hip pain and shoulder pain from being a baseball player, and for years I did CrossFit, and so I was always kind of looking for the answer because I felt like it shouldn't be that way. You know, our bodies aren't these like fragile things that we live in from day to day. If that were the case, we would have died off as a species, you know, tens of thousands of years ago. If we were that fragile, we wouldn't be here today. So being an athlete, just being a human in general, and being in pain a lot, just didn't sit with me. So I started looking for the answers, and you know, a lot of guys kind of they deal with it from day to day, and they don't tell you because it's, well, one, if you're an athlete, the last thing you want to tell anybody who is a potential prospect of, you know, paying you for your services, they don't want to hear that you're injured. So a lot of guys don't talk about it, but a lot of guys do deal with pain, and not just athletes, but people in general. So flexibility was, when I started down that road, that's what changed everything for me. I'd already been strength training, you know, I was playing sports, and the only thing that changed pain in my body was flexibility in coordination with my strength training together, which is essentially what we did here at ATG. So that's my experience with it, and it's kind of my mission now, to break down the misunderstanding that flexibility can be bad, because I don't think it's true at all, and I think it's an extremely misled concept that's just been passed down from people who don't know better. So you can't really blame them for their ignorance, but the fact is there's nothing wrong with being flexible, especially as an athlete. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so you train like the flexibility in our department, and you're strong. So like
right.
you said, it's like a misnomer that you can't be strong and flexible at the same time. So
exactly.
Is there a technique involved, or is there a certain strategy you use to maintain your flexibility and be strong at the same time? Because I've never seen anybody as strong and as big as you maintaining that flexibility. So what's your approach to staying flexible? Like, what's the secret?
So I guess for maintaining my flexibility at this point, a lot of it has to do with my training. You know, I'm a family man now, so I don't have the 2 or 3 hours in the gym that I used to have, and so a lot of what we do in ATG with our strength training maintains my flexibility. But for 3 or 4 years, it was a major focus of my physical practice in general, where I did do a lot of stretching. And I think the biggest thing is you have to do it. I mean, it sounds simple, right? I mean, you just have to do it. You have to be consistent. You know, and if I ask most people, like, I mean, you can ask Derek, when we started doing a lot of stretching last year, the first thing I'd say is, all right, we're going to get into this stretch for 2 minutes. Yeah. People would just, they would gasp. What? 2 minutes? And it's like, yeah, like, you know, how far do you think you'd progress if you just came in and you just squatted for 10 seconds? You know what I mean? You're not going to make a lot of progress. The same as with flexibility. You have to prioritize time doing it, and doing it correctly, and holding stretches for like 10, 15 seconds for 5 minutes after your workout just isn't going to cut it. And I think that's the first thing, is like, you're not going to be flexible if you don't stretch. If that wasn't part of your sport as a child, especially as an adult, you're not going to get flexible not stretching. And I think that the reason why I've kind of taken the spot I have is because most guys who do know anything about flexibility are generally seen as like these guys who do yoga. So, you know, they don't generally have like the athletic musculature. They're really lean, or they don't weigh a lot. They're really skinny guys, and they don't actually really practice anything but yoga.
Kind of string beans.
Yeah, so, you know, especially it's already kind of seen as like a feminist quality, like, oh, being flexible is like such a girly thing. And it doesn't help when the people that are trying to like indoctrinate the reasons why you should do it don't look like you and me. You know what I mean? It's like when you want to experience, especially as an athlete, like if you're a 200-pound football player, you look at this little skinny dude with a man bun, no offense, who's like teaching yoga, you're just not going to have a lot in common. So why are you going to listen to him? So, when you look at me, and then people will come in and they'll say, oh yeah, Jeff's like our flexibility expert. And people just kind of like, their eyebrows go, what? That guy? Yeah. It's because I don't fit the stereotype of like a guy who's flexible. So that instantly kind of breaks down any sort of considerations anyone, but especially like grown men have on what flexibility is and kind of now their viewpoint on it. Like at once, I don't think I'm very feminine looking, so it does kind of change like
The burly man that can do the splits.
the beard doing the splits. It's like, oh wow, like that's actually kind of cool. So once you can break that barrier, you can kind of start teaching people a little bit more open to hearing what you have to say. And also when I can train balls on the wall and try to keep up with guys like Derek and Ben and now Connor in the gym, coming in here and training with pro football athletes, and I can jump on the thing and just start sprinting. I don't have to worry about aches, pains, or injuring myself. People definitely start to kind of take notice and say, okay, what is he doing that I'm not? And I'm flexible, I'm stretching. So
I can attest, honestly, since we incorporated our flexibility program, my recovery time is unbelievable. I could be sore, even injured one day. In the morning, I wake up and I'm completely brand new. So having that flexibility and it speeds up your recovery time as well. Have you noticed that before?
Yeah,
it's like one day I'm really hurt, but just having that flexibility in my body, I feel like I recover fast.
Yeah. My theory on it is it's really simple. Is most people in general, and especially athletes, they not only do they work in, but they live in high stress environments. Lack of flexibility is really, that's really all it is it's tension. It's tension in your body. So when you take a sport that is typically can be violent, where you're hitting each other, tackling each other, work, you're sitting over at your desk, bad posture, your boss is stressing you out, you're all tense, you're all tightened up, it's just going to further contribute to this tension that you carry in your body. And so like the number one benefit of flexibility is, I'll just say from the start, I don't think all athletes need the splits at all by any means. What I do think is that athletes will benefit a lot from stretching far outside of the actual increase of range of motion. And I know that sounds like, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that, but I think number one is the first 4 to 6 weeks in my experience teaching people how to stretch is actually teaching them how to breathe. So what I've actually found, one of the things that I've kind of realized over the past year is that when people come in here and you tell them to breathe, they actually don't know how to breathe. They don't know how to breathe in through the nose, exhale through the mouth, because they're just so tense and they're so stressed out that they're just like, they're holding on to, to this day in and day out.
Relax.
No, and especially athletes, right? Like these guys are go, go, go all the time. And you have the same experiences. When these guys come in here, we rarely have to tell an athlete to do more. Most of the time, we have to tell an athlete to do less because they always want to just go balls to the wall all the time. And it's just like, that's stressful. So, stretching 101, you gotta learn how to breathe. You learn how to breathe. How do you think blood gets through your body? Oxygen. You can't breathe, your blood flow, it's not gonna be that good. We know this from guys on sleds. The guys that get wiped out on sleds don't know how to breathe.
With our proven new wave of training, having a slant board is essential. We've created custom-built, high-grade steel, durable, and adjustable slant board for you to maximize performance and have you on the path of creating superhuman athletic ability. Hit the link to find out more.
Anyone that I've seen that is flexible is actually pretty good on sleds because they understand that when the body's put into a stressful situation, how to cope and manage with that stress. So, Derek's made huge strides, and it was like, if you ask most people, especially most athletic trainers, they're going to tell you a guy who's 41, 42 years old, who's never been flexible, is never going to be flexible. And I've seen incredible flexibility gains in Derek, and not only in Derek, of course, but every single athlete in this gym.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of them, man, I'm sleeping better, I feel better. Same thing Derek said, I can come in, I don't feel beat up, I don't feel sore, my joints don't feel stiff. So being flexible is really just going to be a byproduct of learning how to stretch, and that's really like managing stress and managing tension in your body. And you know, some of the best athletes, in my opinion, are smooth when they do their sport. You know, if you look at Michael Phelps and Venus Williams and all these high-level athletes that you don't even know are flexible, but I've seen pictures of a lot of these athletes in the splits and things. They're very fluid because they know when to have tension in their body and when not to have tension in your body. I mean, you try being Michael Jordan and playing 83 games a year and being tense all the time. It's not going to happen, but he was a very fluid individual. So he knew when to turn it on and he knew when to turn it off. And I think that's the biggest barrier for most athletes is knowing when to turn it on, knowing when to turn it off. And you know, like, what's one of the biggest things that we see with athletes who come in here? What's the one thing we ask? Well, how do you sleep? And what's the answer most of the time?
I can't sleep.
I can't sleep. Some of the strongest athletes that come in here, I can't sleep. I can't sleep. I sleep 4 or 5 hours. I just can't get to sleep. I can't get to sleep. And that's one of the biggest factors is that they're just so tense all the time. They're so high strung that they have to be just taught to kind of chill out and let go. So
That's awesome, man. Let me ask you just kind of close it out. So tell me a little bit about some of like the Flexibull's goals as an individual, you know, and then as a unit with ATG. Like what are some of your goals? And where you see yourself in the next 1, 2, 5 years?
good question. I think one of my biggest goals that I kind of pushed away from for a long time, and I've kind of discussed this with you a little bit, is just accepting myself as the flexibility guy. It doesn't mean that it's all I know. It just means that the knowledge base is there, and if people are willing to listen, especially at a level that I can interact with, high-level athletes who, what if you could put another year on your career? What's $1 million worth to you? I mean, shit, if somebody told me all I had to do was learn how to breathe and stretch and I could play for another year, that's enough. Sign me up, man. You know what I mean? So that's one of my big, that's obviously what drives me, is that people have this idea that, I think one of the most profound things that I've experienced and learned through this whole kind of situation and where I'm at now in ATG is that one of the big, I always ask questions and people will laugh sometimes, and Derek will tell you, we have a guy coming in right now, and I always ask him every day, like, how are you feeling? How do you feel? How does that feel? And most of the time, not just from him, but from most people, oh, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It's painful. It hurts. It hurts. It made me realize that most people who are in their body every single day, I mean, we just have to face the facts that we're in this every single day. It carries us from point A to point B. And most people experience in their body all day long pain. And everything relating to that body becomes pain. If you're stretching, what does it feel like? Painful, painful. When you're lifting a weight, what does that feel like? It's painful. So the first step is like teaching athletes, one, how to kind of redirect the way they perceive what it is they're doing and kind of regain control so they're not constantly, quote unquote, in pain day in, day out. And it's amazing, like, we get these athletes who come in who think their careers are over, they're feeling beat up, and they sign for another year or two in the NFL, or they go back overseas and play basketball, make money to support their families, and this is what they want to do. I just think that's one of the best platforms for me, and kind of embracing, like, okay, like, you're the flexibility guy. Own it. If it's something don't push against it and like, oh, I don't want to be the flexibility guy. Like, I got more to offer. Well, it's a lot to offer. Yeah, and so just supporting you, supporting Ben, and now Connor, and the whole crew here on kind of like just growing as a group and expanding is really like my main priority. Obviously feed my family and feed myself, but I just find the more we help others, the more that kind of grows on its own anyhow. When your mission and your purpose is to help others, everything else kind of finds its way. And so I've made great friends, and I mean we have a great job, man. You know, I get to come here, I get to do this every day, and I get to do it pain-free, and you know, go and experience my kids and run around and enjoy time with him without being in pain. And if I ever want to go to the court and get my ass whooped by these guys, I get to do it. I get to do it pain-free, you know. And so if I can do that for all the athletes here, you know, that's where I want to be. And you know, I think in the future we'll be doing big things. You know, we'll be doing seminars all over the world, and I mean, this is going to become the standard for athletic training, and I think everywhere. It kind of already is. And I mean, that right now, that's my mission. You know, that's my goal, is to just continue to contribute to ATG and the group as best as I know how, and work hard every day for you guys and myself, of course. So that's my goal. That's my foreseeable future. You know, definitely within the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, we've had so much growth this past year. I can't even imagine where we're going to be in 3 to 5 years. You know, so it's kind of hard to see, but take it a day at a time and just keep grinding.
Right. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, man. Like I said, we all at ATG, man. Everybody comes in here. Me, Connor, Ben, got a lot of respect for you, man. Like, we look up to you the way you work, your level of commitment to the job. You know what I'm saying, and how you can like maintain that level of flexibility, man. It's unbelievable, man. We literally see this guy put his head to his toe. I want you guys to try that. Try to put your head to your toe. You know, and that's what he can do at being 210 pounds, all muscle. Yeah. So when he says something, listen to him. He has programs at ATGonlinecoaching.com, mobility programs, flexibility programs, you know, so it's real, you know. You can be an athlete and be super flexible, and your longevity, your career, just your well-being is going to be on a different level, you know. It's going to break through any barriers you thought you had in your mind. Absolutely. Just by learning from this guy and following his leadership. So I don't know if you guys behind the cameras got any questions, but I ain't going to hold it too long. I appreciate you, bro. Yeah.
Where can we find you? What's your Instagram handle, and where can folks get, you know?
Yeah, I mean, my Instagram is at the Flexibull. That's FLEXIBULL, Bull, or Athletic Truth Group. So you can find us there, of course, me there. That's really a place to look. I mean, everything that I offer is part of the ATG system. It's written in a way that just trust the process and do it the way it's written, and you will see results. You just have to show up and do the work.
Yeah, for real, man. All right, appreciate my cameraman.
Thanks, guys.
Mr. Connor Barth, Sebastian Barth, and CO2, man. Love you. Appreciate you. All right, thank you.